Ever find yourself like wondering about the impact of giving kids really expensive gifts? You know, those kind of like jaw-dropping presents?
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what we're going to be diving into today. We've got some articles and research all about this.
Okay.
And to kick things off, let's talk about Peruvian soccer star Jefferson Farfán. He recently gave his 17-year-old son a BMW for his birthday.
Now, what's interesting here is that this gift wasn't just a car.
Right.
It sparked a huge conversation.
Yeah.
With some people applauding Farfán's generosity and others questioning the message it sends about wealth and privilege.
Right. I mean, a BMW at 17 is definitely a different reality than most of us experienced. Plus, there's an added wrinkle. In Peru, you can't even get a driver's license before 18 unless you're married.
Right.
So is this a celebration, a reward, or something else entirely? What do you think?
It's definitely complex.
Yeah.
There's a whole camp of thought that sees luxurious gifts like this as a totally normal expression of love from a parent who's worked hard and wants to give their child the best.
I can see that. It's like, hey, I made it, and I want you to enjoy the fruits of my labor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this perspective often comes with the belief that if a kid is already responsible and their parents are instilling good values,
Right.
then a luxury car isn't going to turn them into a spoiled brat. It's all about the foundation they have.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about the folks who think this is way over the top? What are their concerns?
Well, the counter-argument is that giving extravagant gifts without the kid understanding the hard work behind them can create a sense of entitlement.
Oh.
Like they deserve these things without putting in the effort.
So they might grow up thinking success is all about what you have, not what you do.
Right. It can distort their perception of effort and reward, especially if they haven't had the chance to earn things on their own.
That's a really interesting point. It's like getting a participation trophy, it loses its meaning if everyone gets one just for showing up.
Yeah.
But where's the middle ground in all of this? Is there a way to give a kid something nice without sending the wrong message?
That's where things get really fascinating. The key here might be the lessons that come along with the gift.
Okay.
Think about it. Even a luxury car can become a learning experience if it's tied to responsibility, money management, and the value of hard work.
So it's not about saying no to nice things, but more about making sure they understand the value and responsibility that comes with them.
Exactly. It's about teaching them that these things are privileges, not entitlements, and that maintaining them takes continued effort.
And that brings up another layer to this whole thing, the social implications. I mean, giving a kid a BMW is going to be perceived very differently depending on where you are in the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We can't ignore the fact that in many places people are struggling just to meet their basic needs.
Right.
In that context, extravagant gifts can feel completely out of touch with reality.
It's like living in two different worlds.
Yeah.
And that contrast can really fuel perceptions of inequality, right?
Yes. Especially if it seems like wealth is being flaunted without any awareness of the struggles others are facing. It can highlight the gap between social classes and create a sense of disconnect.
So this isn't just a personal family matter, but something that has wider social ramifications. And that leads us to a question I've been thinking about. The psychological side of all this. How do these different reward systems affect a child's development?
That's a great question. You see, our brains are wired to respond to rewards.
Right.
But the type of reward and how it's given can have a big impact on a child's development. For example, if they constantly get expensive gifts, they might start to depend on that external validation
Okay.
instead of feeling good about their own efforts and achievements.
So it's like their self-worth becomes tied to what they own, not who they are or what they're capable of. That's kind of concerning. What could that lead to?
Exactly. It can create a fragile sense of self-esteem that makes them constantly seek approval from others. This can affect their motivation to work hard and find genuine satisfaction in their accomplishments. Imagine always needing the next big thing to feel good about yourself.
Wow. I hadn't thought about it that way. That makes a lot of sense. So if showering kids with luxury isn't the answer, how do we find a better approach?
It's not about depriving them of nice things, but about fostering a healthy relationship with material possessions. You want them to understand that while it's great to enjoy those things,
Right.
their value shouldn't be tied to them.
So how do we teach them that? I mean, we live in a world where we're constantly bombarded with messages equating happiness with owning the latest gadgets or wearing designer clothes.
It's a challenge, no doubt, but it starts with consciously promoting a more balanced perspective. Parents, educators, and even society as a whole need to emphasize values like gratitude, empathy, and hard work.
So it's about the bigger picture. It's not just about what we give our kids, but the values and messages that accompany those gifts. What do you think, listener? Have you ever received a gift that came with a life lesson?
It's about asking ourselves, what are we truly rewarding? Are we celebrating effort, achievement, and character? Or just reinforcing a materialistic mindset? Think about the message Farfán is sending his son. Is it work hard and you'll be rewarded? Or is it success means having expensive things?
That's a really thought-provoking question. It seems like this situation, while specific to Farfán and his son, really brings up some universal questions about wealth, privilege, and responsibility.
It's a microcosm of a much larger societal issue. This case forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about our own values and how they're shaped by factors like socioeconomic status and cultural norms.
It's easy to get caught up in the debate and judge, but maybe the real takeaway here is the opportunity for reflection. What lessons can we learn from this, both individually and as a society? How can we promote a healthier and more balanced perspective on wealth and reward? It feels like we're getting to the heart of it. You know, we've talked about the arguments for and against lavish gifts, the potential psychological impacts, and the social implications. So where do we go from here? If simply giving kids access to luxury isn't the answer, what are the keys to preparing them for a responsible and fulfilling adulthood?
That's the question, isn't it? And it's a question every parent, educator, and community grapples with. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. But it seems like fostering intrinsic motivation is a good starting point.
Okay.
Encourage kids to explore their passions, celebrate their efforts, and help them find joy in the process, not just the outcome.
That makes a lot of sense. Help them fall in love with learning, creating, and contributing, rather than just chasing the next shiny object.
Exactly. And along with that, we need to teach them about hard work, resilience, and delayed gratification. Life isn't always about instant rewards. Sometimes you have to put in the time, face setbacks, and learn from your mistakes.
And it's in those moments when things get tough that their intrinsic motivation will really be tested. So it's about building that inner strength and perseverance.
Precisely. And let's not forget the importance of empathy and social responsibility.
Yeah.
Help them understand the world around them, appreciate different perspectives, and think about how they can use their skills and resources to make a positive impact.
It's like, even if you do achieve material success, what's it worth if you're not using it for good? It's about raising a generation that's not just successful, but compassionate and engaged in making the world a better place.
That's the kind of legacy that truly matters, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And that brings us back to you, listener. As you've been listening to this conversation, what's resonated with you? What are your thoughts on the balance between enjoying the good things in life and staying grounded in values that matter?
Keep in mind, there are no easy answers. Parenting is a journey, and we're all learning as we go. But these are the kinds of conversations that can help us raise thoughtful, responsible young people who are ready to make their mark on the world.
Well said. And remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg. We encourage you to continue exploring these ideas, challenging assumptions, and thinking about how you can apply them to your own life.
Because ultimately, it's not about judging others' choices, but about reflecting on our own values and making conscious decisions that align with the future we want to create.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us on this thought-provoking journey. And until next time, keep diving deep.